Hi, I'm Miles, part of the Values Partnership, and this video series is called When Leaders Listen, We Change Our World. I'm starting listening 2.0 now, the things that stop us from listening, and today I'm going to talk about our listening filters. But first, a challenge. I'd like to invite you to ask someone at work to give you a rating on how well you listen. You might be surprised. So here's an example. The other day, I got a very angry phone call from the leader of an organization I belong to about a response, my response to his email the day before. And he said, Miles, you were just, undermining, and you were cynical. And I went, no, I'm not that kind of person at all. And I kind of dug into defensive mode, and we just went back and forth, and we just got nowhere. And finally, he goes, Miles, you're not listening to me. Well, that got my attention because, I'm the guy doing the listening videos, right? And doing the listening workshops. So I through gritted teeth, I said, okay, let's rewind. You start again. Now, by listening, I did not mean agreeing. Okay, the two are very different things. What I simply was preparing myself to do was to set aside my filters, all the opinions and reactions and judgments that distort a message coming through, really. And these filters are hardwired into our brains. And at their best, they help us interpret and sort automatically, really, before we can even think, this wall of information coming at us. And the filters tend to be negatively biased. That's kind of for survival reasons from way back when. And sometimes in this case, our filters interpret the situation incorrectly. And, when I listened, I realized my leader was hurt. He was hurt by my email. And when I reread it, I realized I had been cynical and undermining. I dismissed the suggestion he'd made, and I'd accused him of canceling something that actually his predecessor had canceled months before he took over. So look, I felt pretty stupid, actually. And I asked, I said, look, is there anything else you need to say? And he was quiet, and he kind of went, no. And he said, thanks for listening. and I apologized. And then he said, I accept your apology. And it was just this huge shift from the moments before. And then he goes, Miles, do you want to talk about how you feel? Well, that was his turn to listen. And I just kind of had this space, he just gave me this space, and I thought, well, how do I feel? And I felt, I was still frustrated with his predecessor for some decisions he'd made that I didn't agree with. And I kind of went into this sort of grumpy, you can't trust these guys. And so nothing, this guy I'm talking to could get through that filter, right? No matter how well-intentioned or positive. So, he really got me. And what was so funny was he then started sharing his plans for the future with me. And I could actually hear them for the first time. And I felt really free. And I felt it was wonderful kind of being forgiven. And our relationship was restored. And this listening thing was so powerful. So my invitation to you is to think about a conversation you've had that hasn't gone well. And think, well, were you really listening? Or were you just kind of reinforcing some negative interpretation you have about this person that you already had? And think, well, can I put that interpretation, that filter to one side and really listen? Next video, we're going to continue with listening 2.0, what stops us from listening. We're going to get into unhelpful, I was going to say bad, but actually unhelpful listening habits. So see you then.